cubby bear.
Thank you for that
He looked
update.
like a little bear cub, and we kept his name, he was just a little cub.
We are now live.
Yeah.
Okay, so good evening, welcome to the Wilbraham Regional School District Planning Committee meeting. I'd like to call us to order. It's 5:01. We will begin with roll call. Don Davenport.
Here.
Sean Kennedy.
Here.
Carrie Goodrich.
Here.
And Michelle Boudreau. Here. Will you please stand? Terry will lead us. The pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So we will begin with, we have discussion of the 4 regional district configurations. So at our last school committee meeting, the school committee decided to narrow it down to 2 options. We did share the recommendations with the committee, and we are prepared to vote on March 7th at our school committee meeting. But the school committee decided to narrow it down to 2 options for right now. So it's option 1 and option 2. So option 1 is Mile Tree being K-1, Green Meadows being pre-K to 5, Stony Hill being 2 to 3, Sewell Road 4 to 5, closing TWB, Wilbraham Middle School 6 and 7, and Minnetonka Regional High School with grades 8 to 12, including the transition program that is currently housed at TWB. Option 2 is K to 1. Green Meadows would be pre-K to 5. Stony Hill would have grades 2 to 5. There would be 3 per grade. Sewell Road would have grades 2 to 5, and there would be 4 per grade. That's 4 sections per grade. TWB would remain closed. Wilbraham Middle School would be grades 6 to 7, and then Minnetonka Regional High School would be grades 8 to 12, including the transition program that is currently housed at TWB. Does anyone have any questions on that? Pretty straightforward. Okay. And then, so I guess we'll go into our discussion about the regional agreement. So we had discussions last time, but there was just additional conversations that we.
Just one, I'm sorry, Michelle, one quick thing. It says the 4 district reconfiguration models. You meant 2. It says in the.
Well, the agenda we did, but then the school committee, that there were 4 districts that
Gotcha.
the planning committee had, but then
Yep.
the school committee moved forward with just having 2 options to narrow it down.
Super, thank you.
For proposal. Thank you. So we can go into the discussion of the regional agreement. So, did anyone have any additional comments to make so we can discuss the assessment method, apportionment, and payment costs incurred by the district? John, is there anything that you wanted to add? Just because John's online.
Just that communication about the two options that are still under consideration is going out to the community, or has gone out to the community today, and that there will be a public forum on that scheduled for next Thursday.
What's the date next Thursday?
The 15th. February 15th, 6:30
Yeah,
In
was it
the,
February?
February 15th.
It's on that letter, Doug.
Is it?
It
I
is.
probably should read, huh? Oh,
Um,
yeah.
First line right there. It's bolded for you.
And it's bolded.
Just saying.
I'm only the chair for this. Okay, go.
So yeah, so we're hoping that, so we invite all community members, staff, everybody that's interested, to share any questions, concerns. The school committee will be present. It will be held in the auditorium. There'll be microphones. It will be streamed via YouTube. And we will also be offering babysitting services, so to be more accommodating to families and anybody that needs services that evening that would like to attend the meeting. So we hope that we have a large turnout. And so this is before the school committee plans to vote on March 7th.
One thing I would add is just looking at and listening to people's comments. People don't understand why 8th grade is put into Minnetonka, and I think that needs to be explained. Explained, the reasoning behind it and the need for it. I mean, I'll admit I'm not a huge fan of it, but I certainly understand the need for it with everything that we have gone through on this committee and everything that we've looked at. And, you know, reassured by the information that we've gotten, you know, regarding 8th grade in a high school setting. And I just can't stress enough how I think, you know, what information has that we have done and John has done thus far regarding 8th grade in the high school, I think it's fallen on deaf ears or been missed in translation or just missed in general. And what I'm hearing from people is that, you know, flat out, they don't want it, they don't understand it, why are we even thinking this, why is it the only option? It is what we've narrowed it down to out of necessity. And I think people need to understand all of the information that we have that got us to this point.
The best we can do is just keep communicating that to people.
Yeah,
Because when we went to, on the Cape, what were the 3 communities that we visited? Do you remember?
Barnstable,
Barnstable, right?
Dennis Yarmouth,
Dennis Yarmouth,
and then Montblanc.
right, Monmouth, right?
Yeah.
Those 3, and they all said the parents were vehemently against it. And they had all these issues that really didn't turn out to be issues in practice. And they said all that negativity of this process disappeared after, what they say, 3 months, 2-3 months? Once they were in it and doing it, and the parents like, oh, you know, and how do we communicate that? Hopefully this thing on Thursday, I am calling people, talking to people. I have people who are amazing people who are helping me deep dive some of these forums. Like there's not enough of me to go down all these rabbit hole threads, right? But they're sharing some stuff with me and talking with people, just as we all are, right? And as a way of just getting that information out there. I hear your concern. Your concern is yes, it's a very real concern for you. But let me tell you what these 3 schools told us, you know, and these aren't like 3 schools like Boston or Worcester, right? It's the Cape, you know, and
they're small communities like ours.
Like
and
us,
so once people hear that information, I think it'll help. But I think right now there's a lot of
right, exactly.
you know, you've heard it, you've seen it.
Yeah,
We're
people
looking at
are
the same
busy.
things.
They didn't. We had meetings and they were busy, whatever, and we just got to get to them on their terms. And by the way, one of the schools, I love bringing this up when I talk to people. The principal is a Minnetonka,
Mhm.
you know, so it's like she's very aware of how things are in our district.
Right.
And when we were talking to her, she's like, you know, no, you got this. So it was really great. Yeah. Maybe we can get her on Thursday. Is that a possibility?
Maybe.
Yeah, tell her we give her all the Rice's donuts she can eat.
Right.
We brought her some Rice's donuts when we went down. But maybe give her a call. That would be
Right.
really. John, do you think you could extend maybe a couple of those? Do you remember those teachers at that first school? There were a couple that were really amazing. Maybe they would be interested in coming as well.
We can send a communication.
That would be awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that would be great, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think again, sharing why we're here, why we're doing what we're doing, and all the information that we gathered and what we're looking at, and the reason that we came down.
And we started
came up
with-
these.
Was it 320? John, how many did we start with?
I think it was 130.
136.
I thought it was a lot more than that, but by the time we got it, it was 136.
Right,
Yeah.
so, yeah, so I think that people are just, you know, they're hearing that this is where, because this is where we are right now.
Yeah.
So not everybody is at the same place that we are. Some
Right,
place,
Terry,
you know.
Terry, you know, hit the
Yeah.
nail on the head there. He's
The
just
why.
saying, people are out there, they're doing what they're doing, they're hearing this is going on, they're going, what? You know, they weren't necessarily part of the conversations, they didn't see, so we need to reach out to them to make sure they understand what's going on, get them to come to these meetings, or we come to them, you know? So I've told so many people, call me, you know, I can walk through this stuff with you. It's a lot, but I feel confident in the decisions we've narrowed it down to.
None of this that we've done has been taken lightly, or, you know, or just casually
Oh, yeah.
done. It's been so much research and time and effort and energy, so I mean, I'm confident that we've gotten to this point based on, you know, all our information and work, so hopefully people get it.
Right on. Don, how are you?
My speech My speech would be simply this, that in 1994, we signed a regional agreement 30 years ago. And it was effective for a long time. And as you know, things change. And educationally, things have changed. The resources that are needed have changed. The demographics have changed. The financial picture has changed. And if we want to continue to provide a quality education for the 2,000-something kids that are in this district, then we need to change. And what needs to be changed is a regional agreement so that there's flexibility to allow those who know much more than I do about this stuff, the school committee and the superintendent and the special ed people, to do what they do best, and that's to educate our children and make decisions in that way. And it's as simple as that, to give them the flexibility that we no longer have after 30 years of the regional agreement.
I'm gonna quote that.
I hope you're the first person to speak at the open forum. That's my hope.
At the
Second.
forum? At the forum?
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
I'm already planning for our town meeting, that's gonna be. And you know, and I'm not gonna say this, but I'm a guy who was against the regional agreement in 1994. I was a guy who was against the closing Thornton Berger School, but the facts of the matter are where we are. You can't live in the past, we have to live for the future. And the future is those 2,000 kids, because we're not going, they're going. They're gonna be the people who are living in the towns and paying the taxes and working the jobs, you know, and that's what we have to look for. And we have to make it flexible enough so that the educators can do what they do best, that's educate children.
Well said.
Second. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Are we all going to this meeting afterwards, or is it just you and I, or are you going?
I'm going, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah.
Which meeting?
The FinCom?
Um,
Oh,
We're
right,
going,
Wilbraham.
so more fun.
I'm negotiating with
Yes,
the
you are.
police.
There you go, right, yeah, there you go. A lot more fun, I'm sure.
Aaron's gonna attend. Aaron Osborne.
Oh, great.
He's attending. Great.
John, what about just a little skip a little bit, but the vocational education piece, is that really the statute, or?
The statute is that the towns are responsible for the vocational education costs of students who reside in their towns.
Yeah. So that's not gonna change in the agreement then, right? That's not part of the,
Well, I believe the direction we got from the school committee was to keep doing what we have been doing, which essentially, you know, spreading the cost out among the two towns and rolling it into the operating budget. However, that article that you forwarded highlights what can be the problem with that if at a certain point people don't like that agreement.
okay.
Well, Billy, we were talking about this, like right now, John, forgive me, there's right now, is it 10 students? And they're all from Wilbraham?
It's less than that, it's 4.
There you go, yeah, sorry. There's 4 students, they're all from Wilbraham, right? So
Correct.
that's not a big deal, but still, that's money that Hampden is giving to the district that's going towards, you know, I mean, there's lots of that back and forth, but I mean, this is, if it was 100 kids, you know, from Wilbraham or Hampden or whatever, I mean, it could really,
I guess my question is statutorily, are we allowed to do that?
I believe that you are. The only part, as I've learned more about this, that is required to follow the statutory method is the operating costs. You can come up with a different methodology for dealing with the other costs of running the district.
No, I'm talking about the vocational students.
Correct. I mean, that is part of the cost of running the district,
Oh, I
even
see,
though
okay.
we don't, you know, have the costs on our side directly,
All right.
or educate the children directly as part of the overall cost of educating the kids.
Got it, okay, got it.
Another conversation that we had was regarding the language about the in-district student transfers. So I know here at this meeting, we were looking to add language, disallowing the parental requests for student transfers. And all transfers were to be at the discretion of the superintendent for educational purposes only. I don't know if you have any additional language or any additional conversation.
I know why that language was proposed. I understand why that language was proposed. I just think that there are a lot of reasons other than educationally that would come up that are valid reasons. So, yeah, I mean, whatever you want to send, whatever the majority decides to send to the school committee, it still has to be voted on and decided there, but yeah. It seems like, you know, when the original agreement was created, that's where they put onto the school committee, like, you know, have it go to the school committee and has to meet these, you know, the 3 criteria and everything. 4 criteria. 3, yeah. And, you know, there's some wisdom in that. It just so happened that during a lot of, you know, parents wanted their students to attend Wilbraham Middle School, and there was a lot of things for us to do, but I think before that time, it wasn't that, you know, it wasn't as much. It was maybe a couple a year or something like that, so. It worked. I don't know how we want to go from there. It's a big question, and it's a lot bigger the more I've talked to people about it.
I think we worded it based on what John thought was best for him educationally from the superintendent's point of view, and I kind of have to back him up on that. I mean, it could be a huge can of worms to have variations into the reason why, you know, why you get to do this. I mean, I get it as a parent, and I mean, you know, I get it, but at the end of the day, I think we've got to kind of give him something he can work with, and, you know, if we don't have some kind of strict parameters, it's gonna make it, you know, hard, because you're gonna give it to this one and not to that one, and why, and then it's gonna be a mess.
Especially if there's a change in the configuration, it can undo a lot of what we're trying to achieve with some of the equity pieces.
Right. Let's say that the school committee picks option 1 instead of option 2, right? I'll put it to this way. I've had some members of the community say to me, if we go K-12, regionalize K-12, not this school committee, not the way things are right now, but it could happen, like as John had mentioned with when he was living in Ludlow, that suddenly he's driving past 2 schools to go to another school because of Proposition 2.5 cuts, right? But if they do decide to go for option 1 instead of option 2, I would like to see parents have the option to send their kids to Green Meadows. Because let's say if they, because Green Meadows is such a, right now it's just like I call it, not in a negative pejorative way, just, you know, the country club school. I mean, it is one of the it's the most beautiful elementary school building I've ever seen. And the teachers are amazing, everyone, and it's great, and the sizes and the classrooms and how everything is like made for the size students that are there. You know, I could see that a lot of Wilbraham people saying, hey, listen, I think that might be a good fit for my child, but then it comes down to educationally, they wouldn't be able to make that happen.
I think regardless of which configuration is chosen, I believe based on the changes that we're making to the regional agreement, that is actually what's going to dictate us to be able to, or not us, but the district to be able to educate students where they feel necessary. So it's my understanding, because the language in the regional agreement pertaining to where students are educated basically eliminates the town lines.
Right.
So even if option 1 is what passes, is what the majority, you know, chooses and gets voted through, then they still have the ability to say that, you know, I could be wrong on this, like this area of students, you know, will be educated in this school versus, you know, that's my understanding, because
Right.
all of the changes that we made, that we moved forward to or were recommending to the school committee, the regional agreement is actually, I think, going to dictate kind of what we're able to do and allowing for that flexibility.
I was talking to a parent who lives on the other side of town in Wilbraham, and they have a special needs child. And they're like, oh, I would love for my child to be able to go, I can drive them, I can get them to school and pick them up, but then for them to be at Green Meadows, it would be such a better opportunity for them. And they had a whole bunch of reasons, I don't want to get into it, it was, but that would have to be a special decision, and I wouldn't want the district to be handcuffed not to be able to take that into consideration. At the same time, I get it, I get all the different arguments, it would be a shame to prohibit that kind of flexibility. I understand what we're looking at is we don't want, throngs of people saying, if we say choose option 2, or I want to go to Sewell Road, or I want to go to Stony Hill, and then you have people, doing that, we have this whole preferred school thing. I understand I understand that aspect of it as well. It's doesn't seem to be an easy answer.
Well, hopefully too, oh, John, go ahead.
I have been thinking about this because, I've been hearing some concerns as people talk about this. And one model that might be an alternative that would also accomplish limiting the ability to basically have what we have now, which is such a strong movement of choice that a program becomes untenable. Might be something like what we had in Northampton, which was, where we had 4 elementary schools that were all K-5, or a couple of them were pre-K to 5. And the way it worked there was that the superintendent and the principal would determine if there were any available seats in any classroom, and then parents who were wishing to do a transfer could send in requests, and if there was a space available in a classroom that a parent was requesting, then they could be put in there. If there were more requests than seats available, then it was a lottery, and it almost always was a lottery. And that way there was, no special preference. There was no, fighting about what types of considerations might be applicable to an individual child. It was just purely luck of the draw. So that could be a potential safety valve there.
That does sound like a really good compromise. How would we word that, John?
Well, wouldn't that be, what's option 2? That's the superintendent decides, right? So, wouldn't the wording just be that the superintendent decides, and then you would set up the procedure to make that decision?
That's basically what we asked for. We asked for it to be to your discretion. At your
Well, I
discretion.
think we specified educationally.
Right, it wouldn't, so it wasn't,
Right.
their best friend goes here. and-
But under this
Yeah.
way,
We could just say the
we
superintendent.
could field those best friend requests or special ed requests or whatever. I just think we need to lighten up only educational, if we leave it just at the discretion of
Sure.
the superintendent. Is that okay, John, or does that set you up for?
I'm not sure I would use discretion. I mean, what was nice about that program was it was non-discretionary. It was just whoever got pulled out of the hat. Those are the kids who were going.
So maybe it has to be more than a sentence, maybe it has to be what we're doing. It will be assigned by whatever lines or whatever reasons, and then if there are additional seats available from one school or another school, a lottery would be set up for that. Something like that, maybe just run it by Jonathan and just get the right wording,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that you're comfortable.
I think we could actually use some of the language from Northampton's policy to guide that.
Beautiful,
Okay.
excellent, thank you. Oh, great.
So
You
just
came up
out
with
of
a com-
curiosity, in that situation, so let's say the lottery happens, all the seats are taken, and then there is a situation where there is a student that needs to be transferred, or that is requesting to be transferred for, more educational purposes, for more severe,
Yeah, motion.
sensitive issues, then would they then be denied because the lottery's already happened and there's no more seats available?
Well, if it's a special education situation, the IEP team can always change placement. So that there's that I'm not sure that I've ever come across a situation that falls into what you're describing that wasn't part of a special education program, because most other things can be accommodated.
Okay,
You know, think about what happens at the high school, you know, there are many special situations at the high school where safety plans and other things need to be in place, but it can be done within the high school because there is no other high school to send kids to.
okay.
If you could share some of that language with us, that'd be great.
Sure.
Thank you. But are we all in agreement with that method per however we word it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I think
Right.
one of the messages that or that I heard anyway from the school committee is that there are many school committee members that were looking to have it, you know, out of our hands, that it wasn't on the school committee to determine
Sure.
whether,
Takes the pressure off of them.
Right.
If it's this,
Right.
this way, it's, you know, it's very fair, and they won't get bombarded with, you know, everyone saying, you know, help me out.
right.
Yeah.
Is there,
Put you
with
in a
the,
tough spot.
is there, I'm just, this is a question, I don't have an answer to it, but is there still a need for, do you foresee something where there would be a pressure valve needed where someone could go to the, you know, school committee for some reason if they felt unfairly, I don't know?
I'm
Or-
sure.
No, do we,
Yeah.
do we wanna have something like was before still in there, or we wanna take it out? You know what I mean, like,
Yeah, I
would there be a
understand.
reason that someone would need to go to the school committee to do that? And do we wanna make sure there's at least that avenue? I'm just throwing that out there, as, I mean, not John, you know, John's amazing, but, you know, let's say, you know, 30 years from now when he retires,
Right.
and we get another superintendent in, and maybe there's some kind of conflict that maybe having that pressure valve,
Mhm.
maybe something like that would be good. I don't know. I'm just trying to think
Mhm.
a little bigger.
Well, I guess what I'm thinking is if you set it up based on a lottery, you're protecting yourself from that possibility too, unless the superintendent runs a crooked lottery.
Well, wasn't there like,
Is there a book about that?
John, wasn't there a couple of families that had moved from one town to the other town? And they wanted to stay, rather than move their kids, they wanted just to stay in that town or in that school or something like that. I don't know.
There's always gonna be.
There's like that.
Yeah, I don't know if they're, yeah, so at least that was the avenue, was going to the school committee, and the school committee made the decision and stuff like that based on recommendations. I just wanna make sure that we don't take away an avenue that could potentially just really be someone's lifeline.
You currently have policies that allow kids to remain in their school till the end of the year. So that, I mean, that's covered to a certain extent.
Okay, we'll wait and see the language from the information that you have. Okay, does anyone have anything to add on, either other potential modifications to the regional agreement, maybe pertaining to the assessment method, anything like that?
Yeah, we're gonna go with the alternative method, we're gonna put that in? Alternative method?
Yes.
That is what we
That is the
recommend.
recommendation to the school committee.
Mhm.
But the thing which, I really gotta,
No. What you're
Right?
saying.
Yes,
we're all on the same page on this, like, so we put all this effort in and we put it in,
yes.
and then it still requires a vote every year to do this method. It just doesn't, can't we just make this the default method? And they're saying no, and I'm like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense, I don't know. I guess you're right, we don't wanna, just because today we believe this, that we're handcuffing 10, 20 years, and we don't know what the situation down the road
Right,
is.
it's a very fluid thing, things
Yeah.
change year to year, and according to DESI, it's something that needs to be looked at every year, each year,
Yeah.
so it's something that has to be done.
Yeah.
I can just see going every town meeting, look at, first you gotta vote on this.
Right.
If you don't like that, how about this?
Right, yeah.
We'll do it, okay.
right.
Is there a way that we could vote on it a year in advance? Or does it have to be for that year?
It's gonna be for that year, I think.
Right.
Yeah, it does. At least you know what's gonna happen next
Yeah.
year. And we can plan and we can budget for it and stuff like that, but it seems like say now, we have to have 2 budgets. Well, here's if it's gonna be the, 3, 5, whatever year average.
Right,
And
for-
here's if we don't. It just makes things a lot more complicated.
Right.
Yeah, so. All right.
So other than that, we went over the community forum for, Thursday, February 15th. Please spread the word.
And this is the letter, John, that went out to all did it go to everyone in town or
No,
just
it's just,
people with
it's Darren's
students?
working on it right now. I'm
Oh, okay.
just doing it right now. Don, I'm sending you a test.
You are,
Yes, I'm sending you Don a test.
It's actually dated for tomorrow.
what's the text say?
All right, today's the
Is
7th.
it gonna go out
Just check
town-wide
this
though?
out, because I don't want, I always
It'll
send,
go to like Nick and then a number of the committees, and then if they can disperse it,
Okay.
each
I
time.
usually put, you put Nick, I was gonna put you, because you're the chair of FinCom is Kevin Hanks. I always put Don, Bob Markle, they're a town,
But
Nick.
this forum is meant for the entire community, I guess
Yes.
is my point. I
Yes.
want people to understand that, and maybe we can, stress that with the Times. I'm sure the Times will do an article on this.
Yeah, we missed the
that
cutoff. for
Everyone in the community is invited to this.
Oh, really?
So we missed the
Cutoff, well, they'll still probably cover it, Terry, but we
I
missed the
thought-
cutoff for 8 AM.
I thought the Times cutoff was like the Monday before.
Right, people are gonna think it's only for people with students.
Oh, you're
Oh.
right. No, you're right. I was thinking it's this Thursday. We still have time for the Thursday.
Right, for
Yes,
next
you're right.
Thursday.
I was thinking, because the cutoff is Monday,
It's Monday,
Tuesday, 8 AM the latest,
right?
but you are right.
And then we can have it out for
For
when
that
when it
Thursday.
goes out
Sorry
for that
about that,
Thursday.
guys, yes.
So you'll
So
get
that
this
same day.
to them
You'll
and
get to
str-
them.
and have them stress the fact that every taxpayer, put it that way, every
Exactly, every
taxpayer is
taxpayer,
invited. Not, you
everybody.
don't have to have school
Exactly.
children to, because I know if I saw this, that's what I would think. My first thought was, oh, my kids aren't in school anymore, I don't need to do
I'm
that.
gonna
You make
take-
one that just says
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna take, at
community,
least,
like-
I'm gonna take the school part off, Terry. See how it says school? I'm
Yeah,
gonna
just say
take that out,
residents,
just say
yeah,
community.
Wilbraham residents. Something, but just to stress that, because,
Yeah.
there's a lot of seniors that would like to be involved with this, and a lot of people that maybe are gonna have children in the future that would like
That
to
would
come
like to
and
come.
and participate and learn and help build this and create this. So I think it's important to stress that you don't have to have kids in the school to do this. You need to live in both towns. but-
Right.
Aaron, I did not get your test. I did send you the link to the open enrollment policy,
Okay,
so if you could distribute that to everybody.
put it in the,
I'm gonna put this on my social calendar right now.
What's up?
No, I'm just wondering if that's the heater. Just your staff.
Yeah, sounds like it.
February 15th.
You want me to see if are you sending it now? Are you looking
I'm
for
just
to
sending
see
it
if
to,
we-
sending you the, John just sent everyone that's the link for the, open enrollment policy in the elementary schools. The policy he was talking about, Terry,
Mhm.
but I just did a test to him and I. Did you get the test, John, for the,
I got the no reply saying that it went out, but let's see, no,
I got the policy.
So what's the format gonna be?
for next Thursday,
Yeah,
Don?
yes, for next Thursday.
I think it's, I don't know, I envision it as a gigantic public comment period.
Wouldn't we at least present or have someone present the options, present the arguments back and forth so that everyone has and then listen to the community from there, would you, you know,
Some
not,
sort
not
of opening
long.
statement so everyone is aware of what we're there to discuss, what's being proposed, but then having it be an open,
Yeah,
you know.
open conversation.
Open mic night at the
Open mic.
And you can wear like a beret and you can rhyme it. You can rhyme your,
into those. This is Dad brought off and dragged me away, but he went into
I just got the test.
I had to do it as an attachment. I tried the other way, it just wasn't working, so I had to do it as an attachment.
and what do you have?
Yeah.
You said Deer,
Looks
what,
good.
Hamden and Wilbraham Community, or Wilbraham and Hamden Community?
Yeah, I took off the school because
Yeah.
Hamden Wilbraham Regional School District
Yeah.
includes Hamden and Wilbraham, so I took off the school part.
okay.
Oh, HWRSD?
Yeah, and then
But I could change
take
it.
out school as a community.
Do you want me to just say Dear Hamden and
Your
Wilbraham?
town
Hamden.
residents.
They're in town
Your
residents.
town
Hamden.
residents.
Residents?
Hamden and Wilbraham town residents, or like you said,
That way everyone
taxpayers,
will
town
look for it, yeah,
residents, right?
everyone will know it's for,
Yeah.
if it says town residents.
Really, because this is not the HWRSD, means it's the school district,
Yeah,
and, you know,
they're just town residents.
right?
So just town
Just,
residents?
yeah,
Yeah,
then you
'cause
can
this
just send it
affects-
to
this
everybody
affects-
That's even
without
better,
having-
Yeah.
Dear town residents.
This affects the students, this affects everyone in town who is a taxpayer.
All right, John, I'll make that adjustment even in, well, I guess if this, the Connect Ed just goes to our two towns for students, so I'll keep that, leave that
But
alone, and then I'll just change this one.
Wilbraham has like a Connect Ed thing for all
Their
town
robocalls?
residents, don't they?
Yeah, Nick,
We have we can do a robocall.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could
But
do
I
a
think
roll
that, will- if you document it the way you just said, that will go up on our town website.
Yes.
And you guys can put it on your website.
and they'll do the same.
And, but I think if we want, I can have Nick do a robocall
call. Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
We'll just-
Bob do it.
John, Nick will
Yeah.
want a script.
Whoever our TAs
Yes,
at the
He'll
time.
want a script.
Yes, he will, so please,
John, if you would write a little script for Nick,
Even though he's eloquent.
he is eloquent, but he does, because he's busy, I don't want him to have to write. So John is good at that. So if you will write a script for the towns.
Your
again,
homework,
Your homework is, I know you're,
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
and thank you for wearing the masks so that we won't catch COVID, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's really for the other residents of this,
Okay.
resident of this property right now.
The furry one behind you?
the furry
The
one.
furry one behind you in the crate? No?
Scout spends a lot of her time in here though.
It's a killing mockingbird, right? Scout?
Always an English teacher.
Does anyone have anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Perfect,
Second?
okay. Roll call, Donna?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Myself, we are adjourned, 5:39. See everybody on Thursday, February 15th,
Yeah.
6:30,
6:30.
auditorium at Minichog Regional. Yes.